Come on in, honey. The lantern's lit, the veil is a little thin, and the wind's been dying to carry a few secrets your way. Welcome to Raven's Ramblings, where the shadows walk beside us and the past never stays buried, and a good spell can speak louder than a sermon. I'm Raven Nightingale, part healer, part hellraiser, keeper of the old ways and ghost stories alike. So pull up a chair and listen close. You never know what might be whispering in the dark. Hey, y'all, welcome back to Raven's Ramblings. This is a little bonus episode, and honestly, Beltane is coming next week, and it is not one of those Sabbats that it's one of those that refuses to be ignored. How about that? Because Beltane does not sit quietly in a corner, it does not whisper. It pulls you outside, barefoot if it can. It presses your feet into the earth and reminds you that you are alive. And maybe with everything that's been going on, you've been kind of forgetting that. Yeah. So what is Beltane really? Not the aesthetic of it, but what is it really? It's celebrated on or around May 1st, and it kind of sits right between spring and summer. So it's kind of one of those quarter things, where it's called a cross quarter day. But historically, it was not just flowers and soft sunshine, there was fire. Huge bonfires lit across the land in the ancient times. People and livestock pass between these fires for protection, for blessings, for survival. So you would have, a fire over here and a fire over here, and then drive cattle and stuff and people and everything through that. Or even sometimes people had smaller fires and they would jump over the fire. Because this time of year really mattered, especially to the crops and to the animals and to the people because everything depended on what came after this. Okay. And of course, we have to talk a little bit about fertility because Beltane has a reputation. But fertility isn't just about sex or having children, it is about growth and creation and desire and momentum, even. It is the difference between being stuck and finally feeling something move again. And Beltane energy is very, very bold. It is the desire and creativity and its connection. It's that spark in your chest that says, I want more of this. And yes, it is very physical, but it is not just that intimacy. Um, it can be something simple like the sunlight on your skin or dirt under your nails because you've been working in your garden. It could be cooking real food or even opening your windows and letting life back in. And a lot of us do that with our spring cleaning. Everybody flings their windows and doors open to let that fresh air in and kind of cleanse things. Now, when most people picture Beltane, they picture something called the maypole. Everybody has seen a maypole. It has the large pole with the bright ribbons and flowers and people dancing in circles, and it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. But of course, like everything else with Beltane, there is more going on under that surface. So, what does that really represent? Because, like I said, Maypole is one of the most well known Beltane traditions. And at its core, it is about union and that connection and life coming together and creating something new. Because you've got the pole and it is rooted into the earth. So, there's that connection. And then there's the ribbons that are being woven around it as people move and dance and cross paths. So that's really what it comes down to. It is that movement and that rhythm and that shared energy. And yeah, of course, there are fertility associations there too. But again, not just in the way that people usually think. This is about creation in every sense. It is about lives intersecting and paths crossing, um, energy itself weaving together into something bigger than just the one person holding that one ribbon. Now, obviously, most of us are not out here dancing around a maypole in our backyard. 'Cause who and nobody's got a maypole, well, okay, that I won't say no one has a maypole in their backyard. Some people probably do have maypoles in their backyard. I do not have a maypole in my backyard, nor do I have 15 friends that I want to dance around it with because, well, a lot of my friends would probably think I'm insane. But the energy of that connection, you can still work with that alone or with 1 or 2 friends. You can braid something with intention or tie ribbons or strings together and reflect on the connections within your life. And you can even just create something with your hands while focusing on what you want to bring together. Because at its core, the maypole is about weaving your life into something more, into something fuller, right? That makes sense? Yeah. And just like the maypole energy weaves together, Beltane fires were kind of built the same way, layer by layer. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that does not get mentioned, I think, nearly enough when we talk about Beltane. We're going to talk about the 9 sacred woods. Yeah. You've probably heard it in passing, but never the true meaning behind all of it. Because the 9 sacred woods, historically, these Beltane fires weren't just built with whatever happened to be lying around. They were very intentional, and each type of wood carried meaning and energy and purpose. So one of the most common reference sets that I've come across is oak and ash, birch, hawthorn, rowan, hazel, apple, vine, and fir. And each one of these brings something different into that fire. Your oak is for strength. Everybody knows that oak trees are one of the strongest trees out there. Ash is for connection between the worlds. Birch is for new beginnings. Hawthorn and apple are for love and fertility and that liminal edge between this world and the next. And of course, rowan is for protection. Hazel is for wisdom. Vine is for joy and celebration and that intoxicating feeling of just being alive. And fir. Fir is for endurance, for life that continues even when things are difficult and hard. But here's the thing about the 9 sacred woods. These woods came from a very specific land, a very specific forest. And most of us are not standing in that particular forest. Most of us are just not. So your fire, your personal fire, gets to look a little bit differently. So if you're like me in the South, in Louisiana, your sacred woods are going to grow just a little bit differently. And they should, because magic that works is rooted in the land that you actually stand on. So my fire, my 9 sacred woods would be a little bit different. It would be live oak for strength and protection, something very ancient and unshakable. We have amazing live oak trees in Louisiana. And then we would have pine, which would be for cleansing and renewal and clearing out what feels heavy. Sweet gum. Oh, I love a good sweet gum tree. I have one in my backyard. I love it. It is for transformation and growth that is not always comfortable. And of course, the magnolia for beauty and love and bold presence. Black cherry, which is also amazing for sweetness and desire and attraction. Cypress. Don't you just love a good cypress tree? I do. And that's for that in between space, that protection, and it's for something older than just memory. Hackberry is amazing for resilience and survival and thriving even when the conditions are not perfect. And then we have red maple, which is for balance and emotional flow and adapting with the seasons. And then my all time favorite tree, the willow. And it is for intention and intuition and healing and feeling deeply without breaking. So it's the same idea as the original Nine Sacred Woods, but it's a different forest. But it is the same fire, right? Does that make sense? So look around you. What Nine Sacred Woods would work for your area? Just look around and see. So, whether you're working with the traditional woods or something local to you, the point is not perfection. The point is your intention. You are building a fire out of what you need most right now. So, strength and protection and growth and desire and healing. Whatever that is that you are needing, that is what becomes your Beltane fire. Okay? But let's be honest, let's keep it grounded. You do not need a massive bonfire. A lot of us in the South have been going through burn bans because we've had a little bit of a drought. Now it's been raining the last day or two, but still, you may have to check on those things. You can't just always just build a massive bonfire in your backyard. But you can light a candle and sit outside for a few minutes. Open your windows. Cook something that is nourishing, not just for the body, but for the soul. Wear something that makes you feel like yourself again. Write down what you want to grow and burn it safely or keep it somewhere meaningful, just depending on what feels right to you. Now, the world is crazy, and if you are not feeling full of life right now, that's okay too. Beltane is not just for people who feel vibrant and full. It is for those people who feel kind of stuck and numb and disconnected. Sometimes Beltane looks like deciding that you're not done yet and to keep going. So, wherever you are right now, whether you feel like a roaring fire or just a spark that's barely hanging on, Beltane meets you there. And it reminds you that there is still life in you. There is still growth waiting, and you're allowed to want more. So happy Beltane, my dears. And I'll see you in the next episode of Raven's Ramblings. Bye.